So equipment's big for us. There are two areas of equipment, and even as you look into the site, there's really two levels of the site. There's the company level, and the company level lives at the operational area. So I'm in Austin, so Texas is the area that I stay in the most, but you can see we have different areas in the country. And it's important because everything that I look at, I don't really care about all these other areas. So as we look at these, the jobs are grouped by area, my equipment is grouped by area, my reporting is all grouped by area. So it's important on that front to make sure that we're really just focused on, I'm really just focused on the things that I want to see. So as I look at equipment, I'm even further down in there. I'm going to look at everything that, since we're in the Del Valley Middle School, we'll jump into the equipment that's on this job site. So the equipment here, you just jump in and it gives me everything that I've shipped to the job site. The way that ProNovos tracks what's shipped to the job site is called a transfer, which is simply more than a truck. That's a scheduled truck that the equipment that you put on, and you put in the location where it's from and where it's to. Those locations are the projects that have been entered into the job site. They populate as where you can ship equipment to and from. And then like these Ellis Reshore Springs or Shore Cups, this is equipment that we've registered into the program. So jump in, type in what you want. We have a lot of different equipment that's in the program. And ultimately, you can adjust its inventory. We'll take a look at some of the reports later on to see where things have been, and you can really track the movement of equipment as it goes through. But this is big for us. It's big for two reasons. One, if I'm planning a job and I need to see how much formwork, for example, I have, I can jump in here and I can see all the pieces and parts for every system just by jumping in and taking a look at what's on the site. For us, we have all of our drawings, our formwork drawings. So on our formwork drawings, it tells me how much equipment I'm going to need for a certain pour. So I can come in here and I can compare, hey, do I have enough? Is there enough on site? And do I need to ship more? It's really easy to be able to tell. From a company level standpoint, and I'll go back to that portion, there is another secondary spot for inventory that allows me to see everything that's in the Texas area. So I can look at all my project at all my locations, or if I wanted to go back into that same project, from here, I can filter and I can see the equipment that's on there. So if I go back to all locations, the good part here and the importance of being able to see it in this area is we're planning jobs, or we're looking from a pre-con standpoint, we're wondering which jobs that we can land or what we can't. Just knowing what's available from an overall standpoint on all of our projects, and really what's in our yards, I can easily tell whether or not we're going to have to rent for a project, or do we need to buy more equipment because we're taking on more work, or what it looks like. You can kind of filter through the different areas and really see either, like I said, from an area or from the yard, do we need to go get more stuff? It's a huge portion of the equipment workflow, and making sure that when we plan out our jobs, we've got everything that we need. It's really a big deal. I'm going to jump into the Washington office real quick. I was using this one as a good example for how the transfers work. So like I said before, a transfer is nothing more than a truck full of equipment that's going to go from one project to another. There are different states of a transfer, and I'll do my best here to kind of explain how this works. So draft, you're prepping for a job and you're going to start filling out the needs that you're going to have in a week or two. Obviously, you don't want to push it out to the company. You don't want to say that it's sent from one project to another. So it's just a draft. Beyond a draft, once you're ready to send it, we have a controller that schedules all of our trucks. So once the superintendent is ready, they're going to fill out their needs on a truck, kind of the request that they're going to have from the yard. They also jump in here. They have access to all the different jobs and the inventory that's on the jobs. So we say, hey, if you want something in the yard, just jump in there real quick, see if it's available. Make sure that it's there before you do it. We'll send it to the controller, and it will go into the pending column once you end up sending it in. That means that there's a request hanging out there, but the controller hasn't scheduled the truck. Trucking has been harder to get, so you don't always get the time slot that you need, but the controller works with the superintendent to schedule the truck. Once it's scheduled, then the controller marks it as so, and it goes into the scheduled column. and I'll jump into a quick transfer to show what that looks like. So this is your equipment from the project that you're in, the L200. And you can say that you can request from a different project, or you can say, hey, this is from our project and we're going to ship back to the yard here, because that's what they're doing here. Some contact information, some information about the freight line, if there's a specific freight line or truck size, or how it's unloaded. That might affect the way that we load the truck, is knowing how the job's going to be unloaded. And then ultimately the equipment that's on there. And to add equipment, you either mark it as rental if it's something that is going to come from a vendor, and or if it's just your own, you leave it. There is different statuses of the equipment. You can mark something as damaged or active if it's good to use. And then you can just type in anything that you want to end up looking up, and there's just a smart search for everything that we've registered into the company. So Miller Edge, you see here, I typed in just a couple things, some F-code gear comes up. This allows the superintendent just real quick to add information or to add equipment on there. Add in ultimately what they want to, the amount that they need. It calculates the weight for you. You register the weight when you register the equipment. So once you get the equipment in once for a Miller Edge, for example, it just populates into every transfer. So you don't have to figure out the weight of the truck. You get up to that 45,000 pounds, and even though there's room on the truck, you can't ship anything more. You can't ship more than that. Axles and the permits for weight and everything don't allow you to. Some equipment have tracking numbers, which is what this is. So you can track a particular Miller Edge. This is the ID for a Miller Edge. This is our number 3. The cool thing with reporting is you can go in there and say, hey, where is this particular Miller Edge? You can just type it in and it will tell you what job site it's on if you've been searching for it. You come up with yearly inspections, safety inspections, those type of deals. You can register that, and you can just track on where things are, so you can hunt it down easily without making a bunch of phone calls. And this is really how it works. This is the heart of moving equipment from project to project. The cool part is once you get it through, the truck is ready to send out. You'll send it from one project and to the other project. This is called unaccepted. Unaccepted just means that it has been sent from one area, so from here, the L200 garage, to another one, but it hasn't been accepted by the receiver. We really push our superintendents that once the equipment hits your site, you're going to be charged for it. Some of our equipment on here, that the equipment that we capitalize, we obviously have to charge the job for. So if they're going to receive it, they're saying they're taking responsibility for it, and it affects. We do project awards at the end of our projects, and it affects their project award. It affects the way that they're going about the site. So if they want to say, hey, I didn't receive a certain piece of equipment, now's the time. You need to pull this up on your phone as you're receiving everything and ensure everything's there, or print up the transfer and be able to take a look at it and mark it off if you want to give it to one of your foremen, to make sure that everything that's supposed to be on that truck is on that truck. As soon as you accept it, you're going to take responsibility for it. And then same thing, if they decide, hey, something was wrong with the transfer, I didn't receive everything that was supposed to be on there, you can dispute it, and you kind of go into give them a call and hash out what wasn't there, look at the pictures on what was the truck, and really see what was there. So the equipment area, there's a couple different portions of this. The transfer law, you can go look at all your different transfers and everything that's on there. But it's a big portion of what we do. Having equipment and make sure that we have everything registered within here is really big. And then the reporting side of this, ProNovos tracks all this information. Every date for every piece of equipment on and off the site is tracked. I'll show you a report that we use here at the end on how this kind of comes full circle to getting the trucks from the job site and ultimately charging them and putting it into our accounting system. We do it 100% touchless. There is one export that's actually required because we use Sage, and Sage doesn't love data imports automatically. So there is one CSV that we create, but ultimately it comes from the system here. It's pretty cool.